What's that in the mirror or the corner of your eye? What's that footstep following, never passing by? Perhaps they're not just waiting. Perhaps when we're all dead, out they'll come a slithering from underneath the bed.
Randy?
Zagreus sits inside your head. Zagreus lives among the dead. Zagreus sees you in your bed and eats you when you're sleeping.
Oh my god. Randy, that's the wrong doctor, you smeghead! Ready?
Welcome, everyone, to an Unearthly Podcast. We're streaming live on September 17th, 2014, and featuring Listen, written by Stephen Moffat. I am the Man in Black, and with me are Mad Matt Winchell.
Hello.
Randy Ronson McCulloch.
Always a pleasure.
Aaron Romeo Moon Burke.
With an unmuted mic here.
And Tim the Enchanter Sheridan.
Yeehaw!
We've got, as has been the case lately, we've got quite a bit of news going on as we go into the, I guess you would call it the fifth week of Series 8 as we talk about the fourth week. Or the episode of the fourth week.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens when we don't stream on Saturday nights.
They're busy.
Yeah, it's kind of really, really difficult.
Yeah. So our first bit, as always, when it's available, our segment Lost Stories starts off the news with Angus Lenny of the Ice Warriors dying at the age of 84.
That's a good run.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Respectable.
I have not watched that episode.
Oh, geez, he was in The Great Escape.
He was
Great
he an ally
movie.
or a Nazi?
He was also in Terror of the Zygons.
He was the Scottish prisoner Archibald in The Great Escape.
Oh, I love that role.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a great role, you know.
Well, that means he was on the good side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember him right off the top of my head, but I've only seen The Great Escape a few times. I love the movie.
Yeah, same here.
And now my brain has the Great Escape theme going through the head, which is very similar, by the way, to the Colonel Bogey March from Bridge on the River Kwai. And occasionally my brain will get the two confused.
I have not watched anything that he's been in.
Seriously?
Bill, we're gonna have to hurt you.
I've read about Terror of the Zygons and I've read about the Ice Warriors. I haven't watched them. I haven't watched The Great Escape.
I've definitely seen Terror of the Zygons. And yeah, your lack of Tom Baker knowledge means I'm going to have to sit down and basically Clockwork Orange you at some point.
Well, like I said, I've read about Terror of the Zygons. I know,
Reading is not watching, Bill!
No, but he said knowledge. I have knowledge of Terror of the Zygons.
You don't have official knowledge. You've only read stuff you've never seen.
That was more sinister than I thought it would be. I'm now scared of Matt.
Why, thank you.
And his
I'm not. Although he is making me want to break into my Patriot voice.
And his reason for passing was apparently that he has been ill in recent years, so I think we can pretty much call that natural causes.
Oh, that's hard to say.
Ill in recent years can mean anything. It means he could have had a series of strokes. It means he could have had cancer.
True.
It doesn't know, but
I would like to think if it was they'd be more specific if it were a specific thing, but I don't
But
know.
they don't always.
Yeah.
As much as we want them to be more specific.
Especially again, above 80, they're not necessarily inclined to share a ton of details.
Yeah, and it's also how much the family is willing to release too.
True.
I mean, some people, will die from cancer and they'll have made the big announcement, I have cancer. Other people, will get cancer and they'll just want to keep it quiet with their family.
When I die, my obituary will say I hit my head in the TARDIS.
I want my obituary to say he died saving the world.
He died trying to save the world and failing.
He died doing whatever he does every night, Pinky.
And when Matt dies, I want his obituary to say he died as he lived, a total load.
I get that reference.
I knew you would.
The mole people have cherry curls.
For those of you not knowing, that's a reference to Mystery Science Theater 3000, which Matt and I both enjoy.
It was a familiar quote to me, but I couldn't place it.
I'm not dead yet. Forever and ever, amen. Somehow, even though he's dead, he's still loading us down.
Anyway, I think we can move on here.
I think we can. We move into our usual episode by episode news breakdown. This time we're actually starting with the future instead of with today's episode. The Caretaker has some news, and that is that due to Strictly Come Dancing, which Randy brought to my attention, I didn't realize it was a reason, that it has been delayed to 8:30 p.m. instead of, I believe the normal time is 7:15.
I think so. It's either 7 or 7:15.
Deep Breath was like 7:10 or 7:15, but I don't know about every other episode.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They might have had a pre-show like they did here in America.
Quite possibly,
and ahead, so the normal time might be 7, but it might be 7:15.
This is the second time in the history of the show that a new episode has been that late in the evening, and the previous one was one that nobody watched anyway.
What was that?
The TV movie.
Yeah.
Actually, everybody watched the TV movie. Nobody liked it.
Most people TiVoed it.
No, people TiVoed it here in the U.S. In England,
Yeah.
they were.
Yeah, in England they're pissed.
Yeah, the problem over here was it was up against Roseanne, and it was a big pivotal, defining moment for that series, and that was the biggest sitcom in the U.S. at the time.
Looking at the article, Australia's simulcast will be delayed as normal. Since North America gets it so late in the day, hour-wise, it's not going to affect us. Germany is actually going to get the episode 30 minutes before the UK.
Wow. There's got to be some UK people that are, grumbling about that. It's our show. We shouldn't be getting it after anyone else,
Well, they should blame Strictly Come Dancing.
Yeah.
Apparently the Germans are dumb enough to watch it. Huzzah!
Since this wasn't given its own news piece and the synopsis is in the article, Matt, you have the synopsis up on the stream? I mean, you have the article up on the stream?
Which one?
The Caretaker article?
The Caretaker confirmed for 8:30, yeah.
Yeah. On the synopsis there is grammatically infuriating. The terrifying Skovax Blitzer is ready to destroy all humanity. But worse, and any second now, Danny Pink and the Doctor are going to meet.
The hell?
Yeah. Whoever wrote the synopsis needs to learn the English language.
I stole his writings!
And people say that Americans can't write. But this is just as bad.
Americans don't write, they text. I have edited many a fanfic that was written in text shorthand that made me grind my teeth.
I would refuse to. I would send it back.
Fix everything. Closed door.
Unless it was written entirely to be a text conversation between two characters, I would say take back and present in language we speak here.
Yes. You don't speak how you write, and you don't write a story like you're texting your friend to go to a party.
No.
If you can't write any better on that, don't write. All right. So that's.
But yeah, I think I'm going to think that this is intended to leave out the word "and," because then it would kind of make sense.
Okay. Let me see. But worse, any second now? Yeah, okay. I would still say that then that should have been in there. Worse than that, any second now, Danny and the Danny.
Yeah,
King.
true.
I'm just saying that it needed to go through another wave of editing that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on again.
Yeah.
We got a lot of news, so let's get it covered.
Yeah. It's mainly the quick rapid fire. Well, at least half of it is the quick rapid fire news we've been getting lately. AI numbers, viewing figures, things of that nature. Our first bit is Listen's overnight viewing figures with 4.8 million viewers, which is a share of
23.5%.
Yeah. My antivirus popped up in the middle of while I was reading and tried to stop me.
I heard the pause and
That's
decided to fill in.
But it's 23.5% of them. I'm assuming, would probably be the British. Yeah, it says UK. It's of the British viewing audience.
And again, it's the second watch program. It's beaten by the X Factor, which is Simon Cowell.
Fuck him.
Which had almost twice as many people watching.
How many pounds
Chase
sterling does
Celebrity
Simon
Special
Cowell
was
paid?
the third with 4.1 million. And
It's gonna make a Simon Cowell insult, but never mind.
What's that?
It's gonna make a Simon Cowell insult, but never mind.
You did that last week.
Oh, there's not enough insults for that man.
Yeah, I know. I cheer whenever somebody beats his time on Top Gear.
Our next bit of listen information is the AI figures. Thank you, Avast, for closing Firefox while I'm doing the news. But it's
Listen had an AI index of 82.
which I think mirrored the 2 episodes previous to it, didn't it?
I believe so, yes. I believe Deep Breath had an 84, and the other 2 had an 82. Let's see, what else brought up? It's AIs remember how much the audience enjoyed the program. The score out of 100 is compiled by a specially selected panel of around 5,000 people who go online and rate and comment on programs. So basically, it's Rotten Tomatoes with a limited amount of people. Overall, Doctor Who rated slightly higher with women rather than men and scored the highest within the 16 to 34 age group. It was beaten out by the X Factor in ratings, apparently.
Well, at least the people who are rating this aren't stupid.
For Sunday.
I'd rather watch the bad episode of Doctor Who than watch X Factor.
Unless X Factor happens to be an actual drama based on the Marvel thing, but it's not in England.
No.
Although every time I see that name, my brain goes to a cross between X-Files and Fear Factor.
The second I hear it, my brain goes to the X-Men spin-off comic, so...
There's no hyphen.
It doesn't matter. I hear X Factor, and that's where my brain goes.
Yeah.
Same.
Because that's how it's said.
And to top off on our previous, the Sunday repeat viewing of Listen, which you notice was not in part of the overnight figures we had given before, added an extra 1/3 viewers, which was 1.5% of the audience.
On a side note,
I'm not sure if the 1.5% share might mean that 1.5% of the people who watched it on that night, because that might actually be more accurate than the way I said it before. It's kind of ambiguous in the way they phrase it, but I think that's what they mean.
All right. We ready to move on here to the Australian overnights?
Yep.
All right. Listen averaged 661,000 in the 5 major Australian capital cities and was the 12th highest rated program of the day overall in the big cities. These figures do not include the regional and rural viewers or time-shifted viewers. It was the second highest rating drama of the day after Anzac Girls again. And for the first time this series, Doctor Who slipped outside the top 10 national programs as well. So it was low. It was, I think, 9th last time.
Yeah, so it slipped down like 4 positions. So Australia's losing its interest. They've been mediocre episodes. I don't blame them.
Either that or other shows picked up some viewers. We can't tell. It's still the second highest drama, so it might have been some non-drama shows that got some big ratings. Maybe everybody's watching the news at the moment to see whether Scotland is going to succeed from the UK or not.
Don't care. Let me know when they win.
Which is something we haven't really covered, and I really haven't really been following much myself. Has anyone actually been really following that?
I've been only...
Because after Deep...
I've heard something about it.
Deep Breath...
Yeah.
Let her speak, Bill.
Yeah.
Pause.
I've heard something about it on BBC4, especially since a lot of the major scientific like research facilities and a lot of that stuff goes on in Glasgow for the United Kingdom. So, like, if Scotland secedes, then they're going to be maybe losing some funding from, well, they'll be losing funding from the taxpayers in the UK proper. But then the UK proper will also be losing easier access to those facilities and everything. They'll have to, like, go through probably a bunch more red tape and everything. So it's going to, if they secede, it's probably going to make things a little bit harder, but then, maybe, yeah.
I've got to say, if
Scotland succeeding is going to be very bad for the UK because Scotland's companies are a good chunk of the UK's GNP. That'll be a big dip in their economic ratings in the UK. So that could be a financial disaster for the pound worldwide if Scotland decides to drop out and do their own thing.
It might also mean that we have our first non-British doctor.
True, unless he decides to basically, he's doing most of his acting in England, so I don't know.
Right. Like, what happens, like, in a situation like that? Would most people in Scotland have dual citizenship that were born before the secession, or
that all might still have to be hammered out?
Mm-hmm.
Probably, yeah. That's have to get hammered out.
Although I've got to say, if Scotland secedes 10 years from now, people watching that Catherine Tate sketch are going to be completely confused.
Mm-hmm.
I would also add that the only thing I've really seen on this news is a Onion article which had the Prime Minister with bloodshot eyes crying and pleading for Scotland not to leave.
Yeah, I saw that. Which is why, because it's really bad for England if they do it. But if you think about it, if Scotland succeeds, Northern Ireland can't be far behind. And then you don't have much of a United Kingdom anymore, do you? Because you just got England and Wales.
Yep.
As far as I know, the Welsh aren't talking about leaving, but with Scotland and North Ireland, they might consider it.
The second collapse of the British Empire.
Yeah.
Well, if Northern Ireland leaves the UK, will they be independent then, or will they join Ireland?
That's to be seen. I know Ireland would want them back, but there's some major religious differences between North Ireland and Ireland.
Yeah.
Regular Ireland is stoutly Catholic, and North Ireland is stoutly Protestant. So, that would have to be hammered out. Hopefully, somebody could come to the subject of free religion like we have here in the U.S., and they might be able to then, reconcile under those. But it would be a boon for people like the Irish Republican Army, who's been trying to free North Ireland now for like 20, 30 years. Although they're less militant than they used to be, from what I've heard. So it's interesting times. We are living in interesting times.
We're watching for the boom.
Okay, I believe that's done with our.
Yep. That's Listen.
That little rant.
Our next bit is Robot of Sherwood, with the final UK viewing figures of 7.28 million viewers. So just like we mentioned last week, our Saturday night figures have dropped by about 50% since Deep Breath. But if you look at the total week viewings after the repeats, each episode's still getting about the same amount of viewers, just not at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe down by a percentage of a million here or there, but generally within 10% of the initial.
Most likely the main reason is that it's not a major event and not everyone's trying to take off so they can watch it.
Right.
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm.
They're just catching it when they can, or I don't know, if BBC One has their equivalent of on demand.
I think they do something close to it.
iPlayer.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, if a lot of people are catching it on iPlayer.
Yeah, I imagine
a
the
lot
viewing
of
figures would include iPlayer, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, the BBC has quite a few things that are close to that, so I'm not surprised that people can catch it one way or another.
Yeah, and that's the thing with things like on demand and iPlayer. That gives people less of an urge to have to sit down when things actually air.
I know when I had cable, what I used to do is I would sit down on Sunday night and watch all of my Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday night, and I'm not sure if I had any Sunday morning shows, but I would watch all my weekend shit in one go on Sunday night.
I would usually, back when I worked and had cable, I would come home and I'd watch stuff that I recorded like an hour or two after work before going to bed. Because it was a way for me to unwind. But because I worked a second shift until 1 a.m, it means I'd come home and watch for an hour or two there.
And if I had cable in my room, I might do that, but I generally don't wander about the living room after dark. Which makes it sound much more ominous than it really is, but I just...
I was gonna say, what's in your living room, Bill?
I just don't like to go... I just don't like to bother people by going into the house proper when other people are home.
Don't go
I don't.
into the living room after dark.
I go in my bedroom, the bathroom, and the kitchen unless nobody else is home.
Don't open the door, Bill.
So not even after everyone's gone to bed, huh?
The living room is right by my mother's bedroom, which is
gotcha.
And usually there's more likely to be noise coming from my mother's TV that distracts the living room than vice versa, but still, it's
these days
first thing.
These days, Erin goes to bed and I stay up, and I usually don't go to bed till I start hearing her snore. That was like, probably not going to wake her up. I did last night, but that was a weird night.
This is very, very hardcore snoring.
You don't know hardcore.
Yes, I do, Matt. I've shared a hotel room with you.
No, I'm Lightcore, man. You should see my folks.
Matt doesn't sleep when other people are in the room, though. He comes up after we all come down for breakfast and then goes to sleep.
I have been in a hotel room where Matt and I have slept at the same time.
Wait, you don't sleep?
It was either that or it was Mike or Bill.
You don't sleep convention weekend either.
I didn't sleep at all convention weekend. I tried and I failed.
True.
I got naps at best.
I couldn't tell you if you snore because I don't think you slept.
I slept maybe 2 hours that entire weekend, and that was bad for me because I was delusional by the end of the weekend.
I noticed I was kind of out of it in the
and
footage.
you couldn't tell, I think, because I fell asleep for an hour or two at the airport.
I think we all did.
I think so.
You all passed out for a couple hours and woke up at just the right time again.
No, we were waiting for the frickin' cafe to open up so we could grab a bite to eat and some caffeine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Into the
Sideways.
Dalek is our next bit, and it's another one, 7.29 million, and it was the 9th most watched program on British television for the week.
Which one's this?
Into the Dalek.
Okay. 30.4 of the total TV audience, so almost 1/3.
Doctor Who was the 2nd most watched program on BBC television for the week, with The Great British Bake Off topping the chart for BBC One with 10.25 million watching.
The local audience reaction to The Great Bake Off? It's a cookbook, man! A cookbook!
Highest rated episode of EastEnders was Monday's top with 6.82 million, and the top for the week, I'm not sure how there's 2 tops for the week, but okay.
I think X Factor might be on ITV.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, because the other said BBC television, not British television. Okay.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, the top for BBC was The Great British Bake Off with Doctor Who 2nd. The top for all TV in Britain was Saturday's X Factor with 10.6 million.
God. It's like the brain damaged people that watch Survivor. I don't get you people.
Yeah, it's a global issue. Reality TV is apparently like crack.
Yeah.
Even my parents were really
day,
into it.
We used to watch MTV and watch Daria, and now they watch them damn reality televisions.
Yeah.
We didn't even get Daria in my day.
It's a 12-step program for reality TV.
In my day, we watched record tapes of better shows and old movies that you couldn't get to see whenever you wanted to. And they were on these weird little plastic things that spun around on wheels.
And you had to walk 2 miles uphill both ways to get to the video store barefoot in
5
snow.
feet of snow.
With a boner.
Like
What was that?
I was going to let Aaron move us away from that visual. Thank you.
I'm sorry,
yeah.
my brain went click, and I'm like, "What are you going to the video store to porn?"
Bizarre. Where'd that come through?
I was hoping Aaron was going to finish her sentence and we would forget what Matt said.
I'm sorry,
I
there
was
was
going to
just
make a
tongue
comment.
pause. My brain
was
made
gonna
the
make
connection.
I was going to make a comment about Gem and the Holograms, but fuck that.
God damn it, Matt, you have now earned yourself an official kick in the dick.
Woo! High five, Bill!
You are still below the 5 I owe Bill. Okay.
Jeff on him, Lunar Prince for the win.
So, I think we're done with Into the Dalek.
That's Into the Dalek. Now we go on to Deep Breath, which has 2 bits of news. We got some box office figures, and it apparently achieved top spot. I'm assuming this was premiere weekend, because I don't think there were second viewings.
This is the Monday following.
Okay, it was 25th
the theatrical
August.
version.
So this is this Monday only, or is it counting the limited Saturday release too?
It says by date 25th August.
Right.
So that was Monday, because that was the day I was unconscious. I don't remember the 25th of August.
I don't think much of us remembered 25th of August. We were all just kind of, ugh, and unconscious.
You remember 4 a.m. waiting for the cafe to open?
Yeah, I remember vaguely the cab trip home. I don't remember anything after that. until about the 26th or the 27th. Anyway, but apparently the rest of the fandom did because it broke box office records on 25th of August.
Ooh.
And
It
of
was
course,
screened-
Fathom Events is ecstatic because I don't think they ever expected any of their stuff to do that.
No, it screened in more than 650 theaters nationwide, where it ranked #1 at the box office compared to all other films that Monday night. So even the weekend stuff,
I'm trying to think what was in theaters at that time. Ninja Turtles, probably.
Ninja Turtles,
Maybe still
Guardians of the
Guardians.
Galaxy was still going on.
But it was like probably like a month old at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still going, but it was still pretty strong.
Right. No, but yeah, you know how the viewing figures drop week by week, so I'm not too shocked that Doctor Who beat Guardians. Most of the same people probably went to both.
No, you couldn't convince me to go to Turtles.
No, I said Guardians and Deep Breath.
Oh. That maybe.
Okay.
I'm not buying the Ninja Turtle movie until I find it in a dollar bin.
And the next bit of Deep Breath news
Which should be long.
was Deep Breath is now out on DVD. And by the way, so is Godzilla. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yes, but the important part
Godzilla
is
has
not
Deep
the fact
Breath.
that it's out on DVD. The
Oh,
important
hold up. There's a prequel video that we can't play because then YouTube will take us down.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the video to work and it's not playing, so smeg it.
Well, YouTube would probably take us down if it
Well,
worked,
I would
but-
instantly pause it and just do little screen caps.
But for those
That's what
of
I
you
do.
that can see it, it is the prequel that was in the theaters. I have seen this prequel because I saw a leaked version of it on YouTube. It is another one of the Strax reports.
Okay.
You know, the Strax reports to Santar.
Yeah.
And he talks about the Doctor and his various incarnations and how they died. It's actually fairly amusing. Of
That's-
all
Oh,
the
that one.
Strax
Okay.
stuff, the
Didn't
Strax
they have... I thought
Santar.
they did the same thing for Day of the Doctor.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
Or something close to it. He definitely did a breakdown doctor by doctor for Day of the Doctor. Maybe it was... Okay, no, I don't think it was as specific on how they died. So maybe it was just...
Yeah.
This is what this doctor was like, and that was it.
Mm-hmm. But no, this was on how they died a lot, and he makes a lot of fun of each Doctor.
And apparently it includes a program with a very confusing name named Doctor Who Live: The Next Doctor, which I originally read as Doctor Who: The Next Doctor, thinking they were talking about the RTD special, but they're actually talking about something to do with Peter Capaldi.
It was the live thing that they did when they first introduced
Oh, was
Peter
that the
Capaldi.
announcement?
Yes,
Was the announcement? Okay.
that was the
Yeah.
live announcement thing that they did.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I remember.
I remember that vaguely.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I remember being pissed because I couldn't watch it because I didn't have BBC America at the time.
I remember
But
being
yeah,
vaguely happy because it's not another pretty boy.
You couldn't get that to run. Was it because it's not in your area?
I don't know. It's just black. It won't play anything.
It's not playing anything for me either. It might. I don't
It
know
might
if
be just a broken link. I don't know.
Mm.
But anyway, moving on.
Let's see. Our next bit, I think, was Germany. Yes, and this is mainly not that we covered that much of Germany here, but this is both of these are building off of other news that we've discussed, and I think are somewhat worth mentioning as a result. The first is that Germany is actually getting dubs of Series 8, but not until November. So you might remember that we've discussed the fact that they are only watching subtitles right now. They are getting their episodes dubbed, but not until November.
So it's taking longer than expected. Is probably
Yeah.
the main problem, for some reason.
Okay.
Maybe casting issues.
The news at the time had been that the leaks caused delays in the dubbing schedule, which made no sense to me because
Yeah, that
I
one.
would think that the German cast of BBC Worldwide are just as capable of downloading leaks as the fans are, but
Yeah, but I think there's a procedural issue there. I'm thinking they weren't able to gain them through illegitimate sources, at least not legally, as a company. So I think what happened was when the leaks occurred, BBC cracked down, and Germany hadn't gotten a hold of their masters yet.
Right.
Yeah. So
So
they hadn't gotten
able-
a chance to get anything done.
Correct.
In
They
time.
were able to get the masters to the dubbed team.
One more reason for Germany to hate America.
It was one idiot in Miami,
Yeah.
and he wasn't even working for the American audience. He was working for the Latin America audience. He was getting their stuff ready to broadcast to Central and South America.
Oh, you mean the guy that
Brazil.
screwed up, not the guy that stole the leak, not the guy that stole the leak.
Yeah,
I'm
we
not
don't
sure
know
who
who
he
stole the
was.
leak.
He was working in Miami, but that does not necessarily mean that he was an American citizen. He could have just as easily have been English or Argentinian or something. You don't know.
That name, what is it, Marcelo Carmaggio or something? Is that the name of the guy that leaked it, or the name of the guy that screwed up?
That was the name of the guy that screwed up. Actually, we don't know that it was deliberately leaked.
I mean, the person that downloaded it and linked it onto all the torrent sites.
Correct.
We don't know if that's not
was
that
him.
person.
That was the copy that was built for him.
Okay.
And he downloaded it.
Okay.
But what we assume was that he downloaded it into a bin he was sharing on a file share server.
And then other people noticed it and went, wait a minute. And before you knew it, it spread like wildfire.
Yeah, from what I understand, everything was kept on a fairly public server, and then the link was sent to the people that were supposed to get it, and other people found it on Google and started downloading it.
Mm.
Now, our other bit of German news, not to dwell on the past too much, but we talked last week, I think, about Germany getting the 7th Doctor Volume 1 box set. Well, they've just announced 7th Doctor Volume 2 and 3, the 5 Doctors, the Twin Dilemma, the 6th Doctor Volume 1, the 6th Doctor, the 6th Doctor Volume 1, the 6th Doctor Volume 2, and Doctor Who the movie. So
they announced that the movie has issues because the release date for that is to be announced.
Right.
To be announced, and
rights
that's
issues.
because there's some
That's
legal.
because so many companies share the rights.
Yeah.
But still,
why it was so long before the U.S. got to see a release.
That means probably within the next 3 years, Germany will have everything from the Twin Dilemma through Survival in DVD box sets.
Yes. Why can't we get this?
I'm really hoping that we do.
Somebody really needs to get their box set DVDs together.
And
BBC.
then I would like to see it go backwards to get all of the 5th Doctor stuff, all of the 4th Doctor stuff, all of the 3rd Doctor stuff. I can understand why they don't want to do the 2nd Doctor.
Although they could
1st
probably
Doctor
do him in one box
there's so
set.
much missing.
Now, it's of note that this is not an international distributor. It's not the BBC doing this. It's their German license holder, Panda Storm Pictures. So that's why they're the only ones getting it. They're the only ones whose license holder came up with it.
Who in Germany came up with the name Panda Storm?
That sounds adorable.
I'm wondering if their original name that they planned to do was Panzer Storm, but somebody decided that was a little too Nazi.
I just can't think about that. Panda Storm is Genma's secret finishing move.
Yeah. It doesn't help that Aaron and I watched the Kung Fu Panda 2 the other night. Last night, as a matter of fact.
I want to play Pandaria.
Good luck with that. You play that all by yourself.
All right.
I'm not paying for that.
And I think that gives us on to another box set, if I remember the news order properly. It does not. Oh, yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
Our next news, and this is one that America is probably getting because this is a UK box set, which means that they'll probably do something for us, because they usually do, I think.
Usually.
And that is the David Tennant Years box set.
And I don't really care. You know why I don't care?
You have all the seasons on DVD on Blu-ray?
Because they released that massive series 1 through 6 or 7, whatever it was, Blu-ray set.
You mean the that big Christmas? Oh, you're right. Yeah.
So all we're getting is a DVD repeat of a section of that set.
True.
And this is going to be like the third variation of all those seasons, which means that the original box sets are even going to be more cheaper, which means I can finally freaking afford them.
Oh, wait. Oh, this is a box set that apparently was already released in North America in 2011.
Don't!
Oh.
I did not realize that.
Bill! Gonna hurt you.
Well, it's at the bottom of the news.
So, yeah.
Okay, so
I
never
don't
mind.
really
It's
see
not
the
going to
point
be
of
something
this
that's
one.
going to affect the U.S.
I don't really see the point of this one. Like I said, they've already released everything on Blu-ray. If they're going to focus on something, focus on releasing the classic stuff in chunks.
I'm kind of wondering if they're essentially, taking something that worked in America and releasing it in Britain to see, okay, we know what all of New Who sells like. Now, what if you take one doctor that's a popular doctor and sell it to the audience? What will happen? And then maybe they'll do that with some of the 80s or 70s doctors.
Could you imagine trying to release the complete Tom Baker?
Tom Baker.
They would need the DVD sleeves to be thinner than most thin DVDs, and it would still be the size of a Bible.
It comes with a complimentary DVD binder.
It comes with complimentary feet, so you can use it as a freaking coffee table.
I'd buy that.
Just put your drinks on the Tom Baker years there.
And it also comes with its own little secret
please, that's
compartment
value.
with a sonic screwdriver inside of it.
It comes with a jelly baby holder.
Now, if it actually came with Jelly Babies, I would buy that just for the Jelly Babies.
I don't know, because I've heard the horror stories about people buying gummy bears off of eBay, and after hearing that, I no longer want to buy Jelly Babies off the internet.
I've only seen Jelly Babies available here twice. There used to be a British confectionery store down by our local
Actually, now that I think about it, we have a British, just a general, British store, that sells British imported goods.
Yeah, check for Jelly Babies there, man.
Yeah.
Dude, you should be checking there already by now.
Yeah,
Well,
and
I don't have a car, so I don't really get around much.
the only other place I ever saw Jelly Babies was back in the day when PBS aired Doctor Who, and they would go for pledge breaks. You pledged a certain level, and they sent you this ginormous tin of Jelly Babies.
Oh.
I think it was at the $45 level or something. Maybe it was the 30. I don't know. Either way, that was the only other way I saw Jelly Babies around here. Anything else I have to import off the internet.
Picture of Fry, take my money.
Now, if I hear of somebody importing Jelly Babies online without getting all the diarrhea and shit that happened with the people that bought gummy bears off of eBay, I'll do it. But after reading the stories of that,
Don't even buy them off of eBay. Are you crazy?
Oh, you're saying the gummy bears in general. All I know is it happened to someone who bought it off the internet, which probably had to do with the fact that you're shipping something and it's cooking in its packaging. So I'm not even blaming eBay. I'm blaming the fact that it's getting shipped, unless I have reason to think otherwise.
I'm sorry. Just the fact that it came from eBay or something like that means that there's all kinds of worlds of problems there. Nothing outside of action figures. I don't trust anything I buy off of eBay to be that good.
There are several websites that specialize
in actual food,
in British imported food and drink.
And I would trust those probably the most.
Yes. And that's where I would look for Jelly Babies online. I wouldn't go to...
I'm not even sure about trusting Amazon. I definitely wouldn't trust eBay.
Amazon should be more or less okay.
Should be, but you're never sure, though, either. Depends on where you get them from. Anyway. Way off topic.
Our Jelly Babies are not off of Doctor Who topic. But our next bit of news is the Guinness World Record holder for the largest Doctor Who collection. Now, the fact that this is a category in Guinness is kind of telling on its own. Who was this? Ian O'Brien, whose collection comprises 1,573 items as of 6 September 2014, with more added since that date. And that was
Jesus.
11 days ago, so he probably has a subscription to Big Finish.
He is apparently, and they got to be easier to get that kind of thing in England than it is here.
Yeah.
True. Because you can,
If I
it's
had
probably
a
easier to walk into the British version of Target and walk out with a bag of swag.
Yeah. But yeah, it's got to
Look,
be.
hand me that swag and put it in a bag. I'm going to walk out of here with it.
Here's my money. Take it. Good day.
I think for a Doctor Who collection, you pay with Jelly Babies.
I was gonna say it could be done. They do sell those movie packs in like 50 movies in one pack. It can be done to do the whole Tom Baker thing.
True. But no, because people would want special features and...
I certainly want my special features, damn it.
Oh, you could still do it that way, yeah.
But yeah, you're not
It
going to
would
get the
be
whole
fancy
thing unless it
schmancy.
gets really
If
big.
if you pre-order, it comes with a bacon sandwich, but that's only for pre-orders.
All right.
And after Guinness, we've got acting courses based on Doctor Who. This is a bit more of Australian news. This is essentially it's the National Institute of Dramatic Art, which is essentially apparently a teen acting academy, is what it looks like. So essentially, some of them starts at 8. So it's just essentially
It's a acting for underage people.
Yeah.
Child
So
to teenagers.
So essentially, they teach people how to act based off of Doctor Who scripts. There's an 8 to 11-year-old course, a 12 to 15, and a 15 to 18. So essentially, from ages 8 to 15, you can learn to act off of Doctor Who scripts.
Interesting.
What's the difference between some of these? I'm trying to see. Oh, I guess at the AB. Oh, the difference is whether or not you're at the backstage of the ABC studios. So otherwise, they're the same.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder if they wear the costumes and everything.
I don't know. Maybe if you're at the ABC, they do.
I guess they probably would if you're at a National Institute of Dramatic Art and you do a show at the end of the year for family and friends. I imagine they do have costumes.
Possibly. I don't know. It's this one.
Oh, but it's only the ABC studio one that does the perform at the end, though. So yeah, probably those two.
Yeah, that's ABC's the big Australian broadcasting company.
Yeah.
So, and they're the ones that's been licensing.
I'm assuming that's what it stands for, isn't it?
What?
I'm assuming that's what it stands for, Australian Broadcasting Company?
Yes.
Or corporation?
It's the big company. It's Australia's version of the BBC. And I know that they've been the ones that's been doing the Doctor Who imports for years. They did it since the Tom Baker era, at least.
And our final bit of news that I'm aware of is Matt Smith's latest gig in Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Because no one's tired of zombies yet.
People won't get tired of zombies
Matt?
People won't get officially tired of zombies until they take The Walking Dead off the air.
Well,
I thought Pride and Prejudice and Zombies was a book, though.
It is.
Not that they were making, I guess, a television show of it.
Is it a television show or is it a movie?
They say a 4-season stint. Oh, no, never mind. That said Matt Smith completed a 4-season stint.
Yeah.
Has
You're not paying attention. It is a movie.
Okay.
I read the sentence wrong.
Yeah, it is a movie that's coming out apparently in 2015. So that means they're shooting.
You know
now.
what this is? This got greenlit when Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter got popular.
Yeah, but it's also been in Vertigo on and off frequently.
Yeah,
Because like the book came out a while ago.
Yeah.
Zombie horror movies and zombie comedy movies have been relatively popular for a while. Zombie comedy in particular, since Shaun of the Dead, was a
Since
smash
Return
hit.
of the Living Dead.
Well, was that a comedy?
That was technically a comedy. Yes, it was a
Yeah.
dark comedy from the 80s. And the
Anybody
entire
else
series was technically a
besides me
comedy.
ever actually seen Shaun of the Dead?
I've seen Shaun.
I haven't seen
Yep, I
Shaun.
have.
I've seen Hot Fuzz.
I've seen Shaun of the Hot Fuzz, and I caught the end of World Ends.
So did I.
World's End, yep.
I caught the very end of World's End at one point. Very weird movie. But anyway, so that's what Matt Smith's going to be up to now that he's off of Doctor Who. We know.
And someone in the comments pointed out that even though the article says that Matt Smith recently completed a 4-season stint in Doctor Who, Series 7 was 1 season, so he actually was in 3 seasons.
He was in 3 seasons, so it should say a 4-year stint.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
2010, 2011, 2012, 2013. Yeah. So, yeah, change season to year, and that would have been accurate. Just like David Tennant was technically the Doctor for 4 years as well.
4 seasons, 5 full years.
5 full years? 2006?
Oh, no, wait. Oh, no, sorry. 3 seasons, 4 full years, plus Christmas.
Yeah, you were counting Eccleston as one of his seasons, weren't you? Bad
No,
joke.
I was counting. Well, I was counting from. Because when you look at it, no, actually, I might have actually come to think of it because I was thinking 4 seasons plus the specials. So
Bad Bill, no biscuit.
it was subconscious. It wasn't conscious. As soon as my conscious brain kicked in, I corrected it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, every Doctor we've had, from except for Eccleston and New Who, has done a 4-year run. Tennant did 4-year, and Smith did 4-year. So hopefully that means we'll have Capaldi through 18.
Well, McGann did from 96 to 2013.
That doesn't count because he was only ever
He did
in
a 17-year run.
Bill, not
two
official.
2 episodes, 17 years.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree with Bill.
But hopefully that means that we'll have Capaldi through 18, 14, 15, 16. Okay, through 2017. Excuse me.
Actually,
Before we have to look at a new Doctor.
I shouldn't say not official run. I should say not official TV run.
Anyway, shall we actually move on to the summary then?
I think we can.
It's about time.
And who wants to do a summary? Because I really don't, because this episode confuses the hell out of me.
It
You
confused me too.
This
Really?
is not
Am I the only
summary
one that
we're looking
understood this episode?
for. This
I
is
kind
not
of
the summary.
understood
we're
it
looking
too.
for. I understood it in the way that I understand when I look at my desk and there's crap all over the place.
Oh god. So it's technically me and Aaron then.
Yep.
Because apparently we're the only forward thinkers here for this show. We have
Well,
the
that's
cerebral
good.
minds
Take a
for this.
Really quick there, Matt.
Well, it seems like certain plots or certain ways plots are done confuse you guys where I'm sitting here going, what?
Yeah. Like I should probably also note that we have just been retweeted by Trenzalore Tomb for Unearthly Podcast number 72. Thank you very much.
Yes, Trenzalore is a very nice person who keeps retweeting our posts. Thank you, Trenzalore.
Okay.
But that aside, so
The summary. Who wants to do it?
I guess I will start it. Erin can add in if she feels there's any other extra necessaries.
Uh-huh.
So where do we begin with this one? I believe it's on the date, isn't it? Actually, no, it's
The
Pink.
doctor is sitting atop his TARDIS.
Oh yeah, that's right. It starts.
He's writing on the chalkboard.
No, he's sitting on top of his TARDIS.
Yeah,
reminded me of Bill and Ted.
Yeah, the opening bit is with the TARDIS doors open. You hear sounds from inside, but then you pan up to the Doctor, who then opens his eyes and says, "Listen." He starts going on a tangent about strange events that happen in one's childhood that causing nightmares and so forth, and how odd it is that people tend to try to ignore it, even though that it might be an actual thing. He starts then pondering what on earth could be causing this. It would be somebody who would be trying to attempt to not be seen ever. To which, how do you try to find the weak point in a protection system that is meant to keep one from ever being seen and noticed? And to which, whilst in the middle of this rant, his chalk disappears, drops to the floor, and he looks up to see that something else had written the word "listen" on his chalkboard.
Essentially, he's trying to find a creature that's perfected the art of the art of hiding.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and how would you ever know?
To which, after this little random breakthrough, to which the Doctor was correct in thinking that something else was there, or at least that's what it seems to be hinting at, he decides it's a good time to go and try and find, Clara. My brain hemorrhages names, thank you. To which we then pan to Clara. Was it Clara that we focused on? Actually, I think it was both her and Pink.
Danny.
Hmm?
I think it's her and Danny, isn't it?
Yeah, her and Danny, they're having their date. It doesn't go well. Both of them are regretting it as she leaves and stomps off to home. Upon getting home, she suddenly encounters the Doctor already there with his TARDIS, and the fact that he is commenting about her mirrors and can't you just turn your head to look, essentially.
Yeah, I'll make a comment on that later.
To which he then once more drags her off to randomly start his strange long line of adventures and ideas. I'm trying to remember where they went from there. I do know that he wanted to.
They did was hook her up to the. He asked her if she'd had that dream.
Yeah, he asked her if she had the dream. To which she said, "Yeah, everyone has it." So he hooks her up to the apparent psychic link, telepathic circuits of the TARDIS.
Which I'll comment on later.
Yes, please do. I'm pretty sure we could have a long discussion on that. After being hooked up for a few moments, she loses focus because her phone goes off, and it was Danny possibly calling her. They do pop up at the right time frame, but very wrong place, as she figures out that they accidentally came into Danny's past, and that he's about to have the exact same experience, and that he's terrified of his room. She tries to encourage Danny, even going under the bed with him, only to suddenly feel the bed sink. They both scurry out from underneath the bed to see the Doctor there, but also to still see a figure sitting on the bed covered in a blanket. Also, briefly before this, something that needs to be touched on is that she also went through a few figurines and stuff that Danny had, and he had a soldier that had a gun broken off and missing.
Actually, she didn't until after this scene.
I could have sworn it was during this, just before this scene, but anyway, either way, it's a figure that will pop up again. And the figure itself was also called Danny. Originally, Danny Pink was not called Danny Pink. He actually changed his name because he preferred the name Danny.
Rupert.
It was Rupert.
Originally Rupert. Yeah.
After a quick showdown with the strange creature under the blanket, whether or not it was actually a creature or not was not actually put point blank to us. We get the idea that it might have been a creature, but we are not given a for sure on that.
He takes off with Rupert's bread spread.
Yes, after they turn away and tell her to please leave, in order to possibly prevent from being harmed because they are seeing a creature that might not be something that anyone should actually be seeing. It leaves with Danny's bedspread, to which the doctor kind of sighs and goes off to have a look around some more. They eventually do leave, having everything settled down for the time being at least. To which Clara asks to be dropped off a little bit earlier than when she was picked up, going back to the date just moments after she had left. Upon further talks with Danny, things accidentally came up that happened recently in her visit to the past, and it came off as really awkward and pissed off Danny, who then proceeded to walk off while Clara was also noticing a figure in a orange spacesuit coming out of the back kitchen. Mildly peeved, she goes off after the jumpsuited figure, only to find out that it's what looks to be like a very aged Danny, but it's actually not. The doctor apparently had taken a quick trip into Clara's future, and this was a person that he bumped into in the far distant future. They go back to where they had picked him up from, and are looking about for a few minutes. To which the doctor comes up with actually a lie that, now that I think of it, doesn't make sense. But he lies that essentially that the TARDIS needs to sit for a while and recharge in order to be able to time travel. And apparently, this person who might be from Clara's future is also a time traveler himself, and accidentally ended up through a time experiment at essentially the end of time. Is what they kind of pointed as being.
Which I will also talk about later.
Yeah.
I wonder if you saw John Sims while he was there.
That was actually what I was going to talk about, Bill.
Bad Bill. No spoilers.
No commentary other than we'll talk about it later. Let's get Matt to get through the summary so we can actually talk about it.
The doctor decides that it was best.
I'll mute my mic this time.
The doctor decides that this is a good time to sit and try and figure out what this creature is with Clara, to which they do sit there for the longest time until night falls, and then the ship, which is surrounded by nothing but desolate landscape with nothing alive out there, starts creaking and rattling and everything else. The doctor decides that it's time for Clara to go back inside the TARDIS, while he also unlocks the door. He nearly gets sucked out to the void, but the possible future male involved with Clara pulls the doctor back in time to save him, but the doctor is also passed out. Clara tries her best with the psychic controls to try and bring the TARDIS out to present day again, but however, upon stepping out, realizes this is a place she has no clue where it is, but it looks to be kind of like a barn of some sort, at least it did to me. Upon a bit more sitting around and hiding, she finds out through other people that come in after her that this is most likely the Doctor, because they mentioned about him being selected to become a Time Lord. And then there's a little bit about her accidentally scaring him, being the concept of the nightmare about being grabbed by the leg after sitting up in bed. Also, her trying to convince the Doctor to be a much better person and be a bit brave despite being scared. Giving him also the action figure, because the man from her future also had the figure, which would make me presume that this older gentleman is actually possibly a great-great-great-grandchild or something to that effect. All the strands coming together at once. Also, apparently this barn is the exact same barn that the War Doctor would come back to with
the moment.
With the moment, yes. And I despise pretty much this entire portion. But that's basically the summarized. Yeah, that's basically the summarized version of that. Is all this stuff collides all at once. Clara possibly helping the Doctor to become braver than he was, to eventually become the Doctor, and then running off in the TARDIS again after telling the Doctor, while inside the TARDIS, not to go out there, because it's not meant for him. But also hinting at the fact that she knows what the creature was because she was, in fact, the creature. Which makes no sense!
She's been in his timeline before, though.
Discussing this later. But yeah, messing with timelines, they head back to present day. Clara meets up with Danny again, and they appear to be making out on the couch by the end of the episode. The end.
Okay.
But let's take this bit by bit.
Let's start from the beginning.
Where do we want to go? I'm sorry, I have to quote someone else here. It stinks.
Can we start with the part where the Doctor forgot this plot of Series 6?
Yeah. Or you mean a certain double part episode from Series 6?
The beginning and the end of the season, yes. The main monster introduced in the season.
The silence?
The silent priests, who were everything that he's talking about while he's talking to himself in the TARDIS.
Well, there's that, but there's also the fact that he makes up like mirrors and stuff, which only brings back further back references to like season 4 and stuff.
Oh, you mean the part where I don't think he brings up the corner of your eye thing while he's alone, does he?
Yes, he does, but not in the very beginning. He only brings it up about halfway through when he starts chanting the
whole big long poem thing.
The whole nursery rhyme. By the way, how'd I do with that for the opening?
I thought you did well.
Okay. Yeah, I thought so.
You did excellent.
Okay. So, yeah. He goes through, he has this whole rant where he's basically looking at every species and wondering why there's not one that's hiding. That's the perfect hiding creature. And then he goes to try to hunt down the perfect hiding creature. If it had perfect hiding, even he couldn't find it.
Aren't walking sticks hiding? Like the walking stick bugs?
Oh.
Yeah, they have pretty good camouflage.
I'm still going off of the fact that, he found the perfect hiding creature to the point where they made even where they started even making the camera people forget about them by the end of The Impossible Astronaut. By the end of Day of the Moon. So, I think he already found that one, and he's wasting his time.
Yeah.
And our time.
And our time, and everybody's time. Time, people.
A show about time travel wasting time. What a concept this is.
By the way, is it just me, or does the relationship between Clara and Danny seem almost a little forced in there sometimes?
Sometimes.
I think
it seems a bit rushed.
The drama seems forced.
Yeah. Yeah, the drama seems really forced.
Like that whole I don't do weird thing, although that's jumping a little forward in the episode, but that whole line of conversation just seemed odd.
Well, I think her conversations with Danny are kind of stilted and not very. They're kind of not right sounding.
Which we can mostly blame Moffat because he's the main writer.
You would think he's writing a heterosexual relationship.
Yeah, you would think that a married man would know how to write a couple, but he doesn't, and this proves it.
Yeah, you actually, if you follow a lot of writers, you realize a lot of married men have no idea particularly how their wife thinks.
With an affirmative from the only female in the podcast.
It's not that bad. Actually, Ren and I have a bad habit of pretty much reading each other's minds almost the time.
Sometimes.
A good chunk, yeah.
So, do we have anything else about the part where the Doctor is alone in the TARDIS then, or?
It was probably one of the better bits, for the most part.
Well, yeah, I was more or less okay with what was going on up until the Gallifrey scene, so I was okay with the...
See, I started being annoyed at this, reading the script of this, before even seeing the visuals, I started getting annoyed when he started talking about the perfect hiding thing. Like, hello, he's already faced this monster. He's
Well,
found the perfect
he's not talking
hider.
about something that can be forgotten. He's talking about something that will never be seen.
Well, you realize that he probably has forgotten the silence because he's not wearing a memory thing for them.
That's true too.
But I guess when you regenerate, you might burn away like wrist drives and shit like that.
So yeah, for the
even
silence,
still
they're out of
around?
sight, out of mind.
Technically, the silence are everywhere, Aaron. They are also time travelers.
Yeah.
True. So that brings us on to the first the first Clara and Danny scene, which we've already started going on with. The beginning of this, like the first scene with them before she comes back, I don't think is as bad as the second one. It seems at least a little bit more natural.
That's really kind of forced.
It kind of makes sense. She knows this little bit about him. She tries to probe by making a joke. He doesn't find the joke funny and snaps back at her, and the result ends up pissing her off and she leaves.
Same joke 2 episodes ago and knew that he reacted badly to it.
Yes.
So she makes the same mistake twice.
Yeah.
She doesn't learn from her mistake.
That is kind of a scratch against her in that respect. Yeah, she keeps trying to make light of things that she really shouldn't be making light of in front of him, and it's pissing both of them off in the end for it.
And the people watching.
And the people watching who actually catch on to that fact and go, "Did
By
you
people
learn?"
watching, you talking about the audience or the waiter?
The audience.
The audience.
Again, it's just not a very natural. The conversations just don't seem very natural at all.
I don't like the bickering about, well, don't worry about water, he'll dig for it. Like, I know plenty of couples that would have that.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
response was good. That was a good pissy response.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, this is still part of the first conversation, and that one turned out, as far as I'm concerned, in the long run, that one ran more or less smoothly. It's the ones after that that just kind of go mental.
Well, at the same point, Danny's reaction to her killing joke, the killing joke, I think was a little over the top for somebody who has this as a sensitive issues. I think, if it was me, I would have gone don't joke about that, please, and moved on.
Like the way his response was when like he immediately went to the Wells thing, I think it's more like it's something that like if you know, like, his students have brought that shit up, his peers have brought that shit up. So I think it's just something that's been building on it. Finally, he's in a place where he's on a date. He's relatively, he's not at work, so he's in a place where he's relatively supposed to relax. And this thing gets brought up again, and it's just the breaking point, and he says what's on his mind. That has been repressed for however many weeks he's been at the school by this point.
Yeah, I still think it was a little over the top.
Yeah, I still think it was still a bit much.
But a lot of people are over the top, so I can take that with
Sylvester Stallone was over the top.
I get that reference.
Great. I'm glad someone did.
I liked that movie as a kid. I think it was one of those few movies I could watch at the time.
All right. So then we go back in time, and we meet the doctor in there. He comments about her mirrors, so that's comment against Clara number 1 for the episode.
I think so.
What does that make, like number 3 dozen for the season?
I don't know. I actually want to go through and I want to get a count going. Because apparently they're not going to drop this. Apparently the doctor is going to insult Clara's looks at every go he can.
Really kind of does sound like the Sixth Doctor, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like the 5th episode or the 4th episode, depending on how you look at it. I'm already sick of this.
Yeah, the only thing that's missing is the strangulation. Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so
And the
then
giant
he comes
slugs.
to the telepathic circuits. This is the first time we've heard of the telepathic circuits, isn't
Is
it?
it?
Well, other than the TARDIS translating for you telepathically.
True.
But this is the first time they've tried to steer the TARDIS by telepathy. My question to the
regarding on screen anyway. I'm like, I know I've heard of it
Yeah.
in Big Finish, but we're trying not to delve too deeply into that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If the TARDIS has always had telepathic circuits...
Hold up, wait, didn't Tegan use telepathic circuits to fly?
No.
No.
I thought
No.
she flew, but the TARDIS was the one doing the flying.
No, it was something Adric had already entered in while under mind
Oh,
control
so
by the
it's part of
Master,
the
so that
Master.
automatically
Okay.
went where it was supposed to
Got
go
you.
anyway.
So that was one of the
and
things.
she is
that
reading the
mentioned.
instructions in the index file, which technically didn't exist.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So that would have been that was Castrovalva then.
Yes.
I thought it might have happened again from the way it was brought up.
No.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, my question goes back to this. If the TARDIS has always had telepathic circuits, why hasn't the Doctor used them when he was really trying to get to a certain location?
Good
Right.
question.
Instead of trying to steer the TARDIS by hand, and he knows the steering's off in that manner.
Maybe
That would
it's
be cheating, and the Doctor never cheats.
Telepathic circuits were broken and River fixed them.
maybe
this
it.
is the first time the TARDIS was ever regenerated with telepathic circuits.
I was just gonna say maybe it's
And
part of
he's
his
not
changing.
responding. Aaron, please make sure Randy did not have a stroke in the other room.
I'm listening.
Okay, no, because I mean, from what I said that I was waiting for like you to explode and like you went silent. Like, oh God, I made Andy have an aneurysm.
No, I let that slide because, River, wave fucking magic wand and do something. But
Because
no,
the doors have opened without him having to use a key.
yes,
We know they can, and we know that it doesn't.
but in only ever
necessarily-
in episodes written by Moffat.
True.
And we do know that it doesn't necessarily have to make that sound.
Again, only in episodes written by Moffat.
Well, guess what? Moffat's the showrunner.
Moffat.
Fuck Moffat.
You'd almost think that he's the
Moffat's a
showrunner.
jackass. Decides to rewrite. He's kind of Lucasing TARDIS, Doctor Who history.
Oh, you
Changing
notice
it
that
willy-nilly
now?
because he feels like it.
You're all noticing this now, Randy?
No, I'm just making this comment now.
Because I noticed this a long time
He and
ago.
George Lucas and Steven Spielberg should all get together and remaster everything they've either done. Doctor Who might actually be better with Ewoks.
I think he remastered some stuff too, but he was a little more subtle about it.
Yeah, he didn't come at it with Billy Club.
Yeah, he just kind of did basic redesigns of the console and stuff like that.
Well, basic redesigns of the console are fine.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
nothing really
Take
new.
a look
in
at
Doctor Who.
the console introduced in the Five Doctors. The controls on there look nothing like the classic console we'd seen from previous seasons.
Yeah, has the randomizer always been a factor?
The randomizer was only
The
a
randomizer
factor.
was a one-season thing.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
one-season
Okay.
thing with the Fourth Doctor.
Yeah.
Okay.
I keep making myself think it was 2 or 3 seasons, but it was only the one.
Because
Yep.
wasn't that the thing that kind of prevented them from bringing Tegan back?
No.
No, that
Not really.
was poor driving.
That was poor driving.
Okay.
Yeah,
What?
apparently 5 had more issues driving the TARDIS than 4.
Okay.
Although
Apparently, regeneration
been noticed-
affects the ability to drive.
Yeah, it's been noticed from time to time that often when the Doctor first regenerates, he largely loses, or you could say he loses his ability to drive. I think it's more his brainwave patterns are no longer synced to the TARDIS as much as they were right before the regeneration, so he has to start again from scratch.
And
Yes,
he's kind
but
of
for
at
the
odds
5th
with the
Doctor,
TARDIS.
this took the majority of 2 seasons.
Okay, so what other parts of the TARDIS have been introduced since the series first started? Like you even including Classic Who. I mean, we know that the randomizer was introduced in the Fourth Doctor era during one of his seasons.
Also, the
Are
cloister
there
bell.
any other parts that have been introduced?
The quick return button.
Yes.
The cloister bell was
That-
also introduced during the Fourth Doctor.
The
Okay.
Hads.
The secondary console room.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not inconceivable that, this part is just something that's it's either, well, it's hard to imagine that existed before, but all of a sudden it just suddenly appears in this regeneration of the TARDIS.
Yeah.
It is possible.
No, yeah, I think it's, if anything, it's more related to, it's part of the whole Time Lord thing. It's part of how the Doctor syncs with the TARDIS that would otherwise be nearly impossible, be completely impossible to drive, and it's intended for Time Lord use only. And here he turns off the safeguards to have this human drive it, and I think that actually, yeah, it did happen, and I just remembered it's an episode that didn't happen, so I'm not mentioning that.
But I would also say that the Doctor has been obviously very much during his free time tinkering with the TARDIS itself. He already changed the lights.
Yeah, I mean, with the randomizer thing, the randomizer was something the Doctor cobbled up while doing the whole Black Guardian, or the whole Key to Time thing, as a safety valve. That was something he built himself.
Mm-hmm.
Most pieces of TARDIS tech that we've seen has been introduced as being always been there.
Just not
Or just being
underused.
discovered. Okay.
Just being
Well, not really just discovered, it's like the Doctor never bothered to use it before. Like the Hads. He normally didn't set the Hads, but he set it in that episode and it went awry.
And the cloister bell, he decided he needed to fix it up, and it started going off again like normal.
Or it never needed to be used before because the TARDIS was never in that much danger.
Mm-hmm.
Albeit, that one is a good slide because it should have been going off way back in Edge of Destruction.
Yeah,
And in the Mind Robber, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
that as well, yes.
But this
Probably
one was,
some other time I forgot about.
But this one was such an obvious solution to like whole seasons worth of Doctor problems, like trying to get Tegan back to the airport on time. It's like after his third time failing, it's like, I'll just use the freaking telepathic circuits, but he never did.
But again, we've also been seeing that he's been adding and rearranging stuff in there, so I'm not entirely
No,
surprised if he came up with something for an idea.
I think it's sort of tied into Parting of the Ways and such, where if you completely turn off the safeguards, there's a big risk of either, losing your mind in the TARDIS or something equally disastrous happening. So it's something you really shouldn't do unless you're completely out of your mind.
So he's basically risking Clara getting the vortex sucked into her brain a la Rose.
Well, he also needed somebody to nod while he was talking, so he brought her to cross her own timeline and meet herself as a child, not knowing that it was going to be her date instead.
Yeah, although they do fix that because Clara actually asked him what happens if I meet myself, and he pauses and thinks about it. I'm wondering why the fuck he didn't think about it.
Right, because he's completely out of his gourd.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of safe to say that this Doctor is kind of lost.
And to tie into what Randy's been saying, this regeneration is unstable.
Yes. Highly.
Or maybe he's just curious to see what a paradox would look like.
A big bang!
He was there at Father's Day.
He was there at Father's Day. He was there when the Brigadier met the Brigadier.
He's seen what a paradox
And
looks
here's
like.
a hint. There was a huge explosion.
Maybe there's some part of him who wants to have a paradox happen.
Unless he wants to see if the Time Lords would come back, but I don't know.
Unless he's turning evil slowly.
So help me if you say the V word, Aaron.
Again.
I'll remind you I know where you're ticklish.
Not everywhere.
Oh, no, he threatens her with tickles. The rest of us get kicks to the nuts, huh?
I'm dating
Yeah.
her.
She can kick him back.
In the middle of the night while he sleeps.
Fortunately, I'm not a Sarah Ann. I don't have balls and long hair to match.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh, that horrible piece of trash is not listening to this, so we don't have to worry about it.
Shot to the heart. Kiss.
Apologies to anybody else out there named Sarah Ann who may be listening whom we are not talking about.
We are sorry, but there's a particular Sarah Ann that is giving you a bad name.
Are we moving into the Rupert scene now?
I didn't mind the Rupert scene.
I liked it.
It's one of those scenes where the context really defines it, and if the context was that there was some sort of monster, I think it would be stronger than the context being what the context actually turned out to be.
Which is a huge maybe.
That it was no. The context by the end of the episode was that it was just apparently a friend of Rupert's with a sheet over his head, trying to scare him.
That it was all in the doctor's head.
Yeah, because everything was basically the doctor imagining it.
By the way, Matt, I don't know if you saw it, but I Skyped you an image for this scene for the stream.
Oh, let's see here.
I know you're in Do Not Disturb, so I figured I'd let you know. It was about 20 minutes ago.
Wait, what? I'm not sure if I got the right thing.
It's in the private window. I just sent you an image.
Oh, in private.
That I had pulled off of Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah, totally long link.
I wasn't sure if you'd see it without me bringing it up. That's why I mentioned it. Well, I might as well share it in the group chat now that we're actually talking about it. But here's what I sent him for the stream, if it'll paste properly. All together with this, I mean, maybe the doctor's obliviousness as to why she was on a date, got distracted while interfacing with the telepathic circuits, and ended up with this guy, and he has, well, actually, yeah, Moffat's doctor tends to be oblivious. I think other doctors tend to be slightly less oblivious.
Or his doctors tend to pretend to be overly oblivious.
Yes, sometimes I think this new doctor is heavy on obfuscating stupidity.
Like, I mean, this kind of reminds me of the scene where River couldn't have been conceived in the TARDIS. The first time that Rory and Amy were in the TARDIS in this reality was on their wedding night. That kind of obliviousness.
Yeah, there's been a lot of this kind of, and coming off of previous doctors who understood humanity a lot more, you really don't think you would unlearn humanity. Mm-hmm. Everyone still here?
Yep.
I'm here.
Sorry,
I don't know if he's
worried my
unlearned
internet
humanity.
went completely.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
What was that, Aaron?
For no reason.
I don't think he's unlearned humanity. I think he's just kind of leaning more towards the darker.
Well, he's kind of becoming a darker stupid, though, too.
Like, but he's talking about, like, the fact for, like, 10 had a fairly decent grasp on how to behave as a human in order to fit in with humans.
Or at least
11
a decent
had no
grasp
clue.
on human society.
Yeah. An 11, completely no clue.
Yeah, watch The Lodger and compare that to the fact that he has, like, absolutely no idea about little basic human things. Stuff that you got the idea that Tennant and Davidson and Baker and Pertwee all knew. Yeah,
Baker, you could think, like, knew how human society worked and just intentionally chose to go the opposite direction.
I would say...
Whereas Smith instead more seems to just act like he has completely no idea.
I would say Colin Baker was kind of...
Colin Baker was an unstable regeneration.
Yeah.
All around. For most
Colin
of his
Baker
run.
and a little bit of Sylvester McCoy. At first.
Sylvester
and then he
McCoy
stabilized.
Sylvester McCoy knew anything and everything. The only thing he needed was to walk around saying, "I'm Batman."
I'm Batman, don't you know? I'm in the movie.
God. God damn you, Bill. No. My brain went completely and totally, utterly sideways on that. If you've known anything on my comments on who I compare to Batman, and that was the main character from CSI Miami, Horatio Caine. So now I'm imagining his actor as the Doctor. It's wrong on so many levels.
So you flipped what I said then.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, a TARDIS appears and the doors burst open. Justice, we.
Anyway, yeah, the Doctor's general cluelessness that's been through ever since Moffat took over on basic human function and traditions is just something that has been a level of annoyance to me.
What did you guys think of the Doctor with one eye open? Close your eyes, don't look. As he's looking with one eye, trying to look like he's not looking.
Yeah, he's obviously trying to peek. Again, he's trying to get a look at it, but it ran off on him.
On one hand, I could see the Doctor's curiosity getting the better of him. On the second hand, if the Doctor is smart enough to tell his companions that, he's probably smart enough to follow his own advice.
But again, the entire point of this entire journey is trying to see this thing. This thing which actually does not exist.
Unless he egotistically believes that he can look at it, but the humans can't.
Which is not impossible. Time Lords have a lot of extra little bonus package deals.
So, yeah, there is that part of it. Of the Doctor, basically, he's, it's kind of turning into same shit, different regeneration. Because Matt Smith acted like a hyperactive 4-year-old. And now we've got Capaldi acting like a 4-year-old with an attitude problem. Like a 4-year-old trying to tell everybody he's the baddest guy on the playground,
Yeah.
I don't know. And sometimes it's working, sometimes it's not. That particular scene with him peeking like that was really, I think, overly childish. But other than that, were there any problems we had, other than the fact that the Doctor and Clara are now directly responsible for Rupert becoming Dan the soldier?
Other than that kind of repercussion, no. Other than the fact that they are again affecting the childhood of another poor innocent person, now suddenly in their clutches.
Yeah, but this was not deliberate on their part. It was more side effecty.
Kind of.
So I was a little more forgiving on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The seeds were kind of already there. They just helped put them into place now.
Mm-hmm. So,
although you kind of get the impression, like after that scene, you kind of wonder if Danny going on a date with Clara is kind of like Mickey's imprinting of Rose.
Kind of. Well, I have kind of compared Danny Smith or Danny Pink to, oh my God, we've got a new
Danny Smith.
I'm already merging the two.
They're already merging in Randy's brain. This is not a good sign.
We have a new Mickey. We got a new tin dog.
He's a new tin dog, and we already feel sorry for him. And annoyed that we can't come up with a new tin dog.
So anyway, talking about him, we get back to the date now with him in there, and this is the one that I'm like, everything seems really stilted and forced.
Yeah, it really felt forced. Although I will say that it was amusing to have the orange jumpsuit come out, but even then it's just like, you realize something's up if he's not coming out of the helmet.
Yeah. Well, that too, and I didn't mind Clara's willow babble. That was okay. But after that is when the conversation really kind of went stilted and dark, and I couldn't take it after that. It was like, okay, this is kind of forced. And yeah, then we have Colonel Pink, who is insinuated to be the grandson or great-grandson of Clara and Danny. So
It's been hypothesized that Orson was a play on the words "our son."
possibly, yeah. Either way, it was basically Moffat hitting this relationship with a fix-it hammer. And when I mean fix-it hammer, I mean the same kind of hammer used by Jeremy Clarkson in episodes of Top Gear. He's like, well, I haven't told them that this relationship will happen. Where's my hammer? Wham, 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 wham.
Wham, wham. It will. Forcing it.
Yep. And I don't know about you, but if I was just told that this person basically means I will be marrying this person and having kids, my immediate reaction would be to do the exact opposite.
Yeah, pretty much.
Unless it's like Greek tragedy, in which fighting against your fate only makes it come true.
Oh, I mean like every episode of every no wait. That's So Raven. Yeah.
Whereas Clara's response is to immediately go on and try to patch up relationship with this person that will eventually be...
Eventually might be possibly her.
So, once again, Moffat is basically waving the words destiny in front of it. All this time it's getting aimed at Clara and not the Doctor for once.
Give it an episode.
Maybe we'll find out that Danny kills the Doctor next episode.
I've been kind of waiting for that. That's on my list of possibilities for this upcoming season. I think I stated that last week. Mm-hmm. No, I stated it from Into the Dalek, I think. That he's so big on killing somebody that's not a civilian, I kind of said, watch, it's going to be the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You did mention that.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's on my list of things to go, really, Moffat? I need to kick you in the dick now? Again? Some more? Repeatedly?
Better not visit Wisconsin. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure we're going to have a road trip.
Oh, I don't know. If he ever comes to Chicago TARDIS, it might be worth the road trip right there. Anyway. So then we get this whole thing at the end of time. And yes, seriously, didn't we already see the end of time? In, like, the finale for Series 3? With the whole Utopia bit? So aren't we retreading old territory here?
Pretty much.
Holy shit, I just realized something. Perfect at hiding. That black ship that the Hitchhiker's Guide steals from the restaurant at the end of the universe is the perfect hiding.
Hot Black Desiato's death ship?
Yes.
Yep. I forgot about that too. I just, now that you brought it up, I remembered.
I feel like that was probably a completely unintentional crossover.
Yeah, black ship with black markings, and the interior is done out with black trim and black buttons.
The thing about space is that's black.
I think the bits that light up glow with black light.
Yes, they did. Everything in the ship was black.
The thing about space is that's black, and the thing about the black ship is that it's also black. So how are you supposed to find a black ship?
See, now, if that had driven by, that would have made this episode more entertaining.
But anyway, so instead we get all this stuff that's apparently the rattling and banging, which turns out to be just actually rattling and banging, and the Doctor and Claire are imagining that it's something else.
Which, yeah, that was a thing.
And of course, as is necessary, the Doctor threatening to never take the companion with him again because Matt Smith did it, so Capaldi has to also do it. They were both in Moffat episodes.
Hammer.
Moffat Hammer saying, I'm in control of the TARDIS.
Mm-hmm. So we get to that, and so then they have to go rescue the Doctor. After the Doctor recites this nursery rhyme, which includes the words, or from the mirror in the corner of your eye, which I was immediately spot. Oh, daughter of mine?
Yeah, I believe pretty much all three of us, at least, had that reaction.
Yeah.
That was, I think, the first words out of my mouth hearing that phrase was, oh, yeah, that's daughter of mine that's in the corner of your eye.
Don't you remember? You put her there.
You put her there, yes.
Yeah.
And you also put her brother out in the freaking cornfield, you asshole.
Hey, they deserved it. Anyway, so we get back, and we,
They wanted immortality.
they rescue him, and then Clara, once again, without the Doctor's bidding, uses the telepathic circuits in the TARDIS, so the Doctor didn't put the safeties back on.
Mm-hmm.
This I can actually believe, because the Doctor does tend to forget shit like that.
Yes, he does.
I.e., Titanic crashing through the walls of the TARDIS because he forgot to turn the force field on.
Or the TARDIS crashing through the walls of the TARDIS for the same reason.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the Doctor does forget shit like that. That is a given, but still, and that takes her to the one place a TARDIS should never, ever, ever possibly go. Ever. And that is into the past of Gallifrey.
Actually, yeah, that should be time locked, shouldn't it?
It should be time locked.
But he turned the safeguards off.
What?
But he turned the safeguards off.
It shouldn't matter.
Shouldn't matter. That was time locked.
Preventing future TARDISes from coming in. Because the last thing you want to do is have a TARDIS come back in time and prevent the entire creation of time travel in the first place. I go back in time and kill Rassilon. Time Lord Society never happens.
You mean Omega?
Yeah, either way. Bad shit. So you would think the first thing the Time Lords would have done upon becoming Time Lords would have prevented time ships from going back into Gallifrey's history. They would have set up a barrier, the transduction barrier, to prevent this from happening. And I say the words transduction barrier because we know it exists.
Mm-hmm.
It was listed in the Invasion of Time. The Doctor actually had to tear it down for a chunk so that the Vardans and later the Santarans could invade. You'd have to see the episode to know why.
So that being said, this whole sequence shouldn't even happen.
This was the point that I started grinding my teeth when I was reading the script.
This is the part where I started to apply hand to face once I figured out what was actually going on.
And not only is she in the TARDIS's past, she is in the past of Gallifrey. She's in the Doctor's personal past.
Where he's apparently a crying little boy.
She's the damn cause of the whole freaking episode.
I was going to come up with an argument against your statements, but then I realized that was using novel-only logic, and that probably shouldn't apply to this conversation.
No, it won't.
Oh, I would have to hurt you. I don't know how, as you're on the other side of the country now, but I would have to hurt you. Yes, there are so much shit that the novels came out with that it basically has to be ignored. Yeah. Genetic looms.
Yeah, Bill, trying to bring the novels into this is not going to win you any favors. There's so much stuff that does not count.
I was going to mention the Doctor going back in time to pull Susan from the past, but
also from the same writer that brought us Genetic Looms.
I think so.
Fail.
Yeah, so he fails. His basic stuff is now pretty much been decried by modern Doctor Who. As again, we now see the Doctor as a little boy. This is supposed to be the little boy that grows up to be Bill Hartnell. Well, you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Although some have hypothesized, well, this is not something I support, but whichever one of the production staff was the first one to appear in Brain of Morbius, some people are saying that this kid turns into them instead. But
Yeah, except for the fact that
that's
also
not
part of
my
it.
that's not my. I'm
that
not
would give the
going there.
Doctor 16 regenerations in his first cycle.
He did
Not
not.
happening.
Lies. Broken.
Well, there's some complicated theories about that, but that's probably not.
The
for
easy
this.
one
That's
is
for
that
another
those
time.
faces we don't recognize are supposed to be Morbius.
Or deception by the Doctor. Either way, they're not actual regenerations. Deal with it, people. Move on.
After the podcast, I'll tell you the theories that I've heard because I don't want to bog us down.
Okay, good, because we've got 15 minutes left. And so the Clara comes up to the end of this, and of course has to be Miss Smarty and solve the whole case. So once again, the Doctor basically did nothing.
That's not true. He caused the problem in the first place.
He caused the problem in the first place, and he didn't solve
well,
it
no,
well.
he did save Orson. Orson would have been trapped at the end of time to become a Toglophane if the Doctor hadn't shown up.
Yeah, except for the fact that that was kind of a side issue on the problem and not actually the main problem.
It was completely accidental, but still.
It's a Matt Smith era plot where the Doctor never solves anything. I mean, before, yes, especially in the first Doctor, the Doctor would cause the problem, but then he would go out of his way to fix it. And he would do it with the help of his companions and some. And others, of course, the companions would be part of the problem.
But in the end, it would all get fixed.
It would get fixed, and usually the Doctor would have a key part in fixing it. And again, we have one where the Doctor causes an issue and doesn't solve it.
And is told to forget about it.
And technically, this one's even worse. It's an ultimate anticlimax because there's no real issue in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The issue is that Clara touched the Doctor's leg, which caused the Doctor to freak out about people touching people's legs, to go on a wild goose chase.
Which caused Clara to go back in time in the first place. It's another fucking bootstrap paradox from Stephen Moffat.
Exactly.
I was wondering, if Claire is the Doctor's thing under the bed, what's everyone else's?
Our imaginations. That was basically the moral of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Is it's all in your head. Yeah, the more we talk about this episode, the more I see why I have issues with it.
Yeah, just...
And why it was hurting my brain was because it was another freaking bootstrap paradox.
Now you see why I just was speechless when I saw people talking about how this was an instant classic and one of the best Doctor Who episodes we've seen in years, and yada yada yada.
People who said that are thick in the head.
Well, apparently it's extremely well liked on social media, according to people.
Social
who
media
claim to
can
be an
kiss my
expert
ass. Social
things.
media is full of stupid people to begin with, for the most part.
Yeah, because all I'm seeing is more of Moffat's cliche writing. I mean, except no machines were wearing human parts, and there was no blatant gay-lesbian pairing.
It still used one of his major things, though.
It still used a bootstrap paradox, and it suffers from the Moffat anticlimax. We can call it the Moffat anticlimax now, can't we?
Yeah, he's done enough of them.
I mean, it reminds me of Power of Three. In that aspect where, we've been leading up for the majority of the episode to discover that there really isn't one.
Boo.
And I think I just got the notification that the podcast was starting, so that means we should be probably going to our final thoughts.
Yeah, we're about there anyway.
Yeah. All right. Let's see if I can close this, and I will then ask for final thoughts in the order of which people are on my Skype window, and that starts with Bill to this this time.
What the hell did you do to your Skype window?
I don't know.
It's
You're in
last.
big, and everyone else is in small below me. So since you're big, you go first.
So in other words, I moved something near my mic, and that caught your attention.
Nope.
Uh,
Nope. You've been like that the entire podcast. I don't know why Skype decided to do today differently.
okay.
Well, it's Skype crack.
Like I'm always last, and I always appreciate that because I do not like to go first.
Well, guess what? You're going first this time. Bill, deal with
Alrighty
it.
then. This episode is a mess. There are some good moments and pieces to it, but altogether they completely pale in comparison to what happens when you put them together in context. And when you put them together in context, it's disappointing, sloppy, and ultimately something I could go the rest of the season and never bother thinking about the fact that I've watched it. So I'm not a fan of the episode.
Okay. Is that all you have to say about that?
Yes.
Tim.
This episode started out promising for me. It seemed like it was going to be a good, creepy, spooky episode, something I can get into. But as it went on, it just got more convoluted, and I just kept wondering about, what was happening, and I was just taken out of it by the end. The end, to where it wasn't until the next day that I realized, oh, that was the doctor's bed she was under. Because I know that's
it took
pathetic.
a while to click.
Yeah.
Is that everything you have to say?
Yeah. So it had a good start, but it didn't live up to its promise.
Okay. Aaron?
I pretty much liked it. It does kind of fall apart towards the end, but I actually kind of think bringing it back to Gallifrey was kind of interesting. Kind of brings everything back together in a circle for me. All right, that's it.
Matt?
It is a complete story circle, but it's a really bad one. It starts off really promising to me, and then by the mid part, it starts to bog itself down, and then by the end, it's just, are you really doing this? You are doing this. Oh, smeg me. Why are you doing this? Don't do this. The halfway point, you start to realize that there's flaws, and you're not sure why there's suddenly flaws, and then the very end, it just completely bombs for me. It just, no. Shake my head, no. Disappointing in you, Moffat.
Is that everything, Matt?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so at the first, when I was reading this, because I read the script version first, I was interested in the good part of it. I liked the idea of, I actually did like the idea of the hidden monster, because I knew it would be something Moffat could do well.
If he actually bothered to do it.
If he had bothered to do it, would be an unseen monster. It's a Moffat cliche, but it's one he's usually good at.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking like Tim mentioned for a nice horror-esque story, and it did not deliver. And by the end of it, I was absolutely livid at Moffat for what he had done. And yeah, looking at it, it's full of cliches. It's another bootstrap paradox, which Moffat, I don't think I've seen an episode or a story arc that Moffat's done in the last 3 years that didn't involve a bootstrap paradox in some form or another. I mean, all of Series 6 was kind of a bootstrap paradox.
More or less.
So he loses a lot of points there.
Series 7 was, well, a self-removing, I don't even know, never mind. Different kind of paradox.
But it's it really kind of grinds my gears how he did that, and it's it just, everything about it just started pissing me off. And the more we looked into it, the more cliches I saw in his writing. It's like he just cranked this episode out from his his writing mill. And I don't even know if he cares, to be honest. Although, all of the cracks, it's also indicative was all the cracks he's taking at Clara, her needing of 3 mirrors, her style of dress and everything. I really hope, for the sake of irony, that in the future, when Capaldi has to regenerate, the next Doctor's a woman, looks in and realizes why they use 3 mirrors. It's for application of makeup.
As a woman who doesn't use makeup, yeah, whatever.
Hey, I just remember my mother had to have one of those too, for the same reason, for when you're putting on blush and other things and you don't want to move your face because you'll wreck makeup.
I imagine having 3 mirrors would be incredibly useful for shaving the back of my scalp.
Probably. But then again, you don't really see that as being... Okay, so maybe Eccleston might have needed to do that. He would have been the only Doctor, though.
Sure.
And he didn't last long enough to worry about it.
Snip.
Anyway, that's my thought, is that this was basically a massive disappointment, even by Moffat standards, for me. And he broke a lot of things that he shouldn't have done. Anyway, points. And again, we're starting with you, Bill.
I think I'm going to go with a deuce.
You're taking a deuce. Got it. Tim.
I'm going to give it a 2.5 because I liked the first scene.
All right. Aaron?
I'm going to give it about 3.5, I think.
Okay. Matt?
Moffat squeezes one out on paper. A deuce.
El Duce for me, too. Gives it 2, 2.5, 2, 2.5, 3.5. I'm going to need a calculator for this, unless you got it, Bill.
How many? There are 5 of us?
There are 5 lights.
2.4.
2.4. Which puts Tim as the closest.
Yay, what do I win?
Tim, your no prize is in the mail.
Hooray!
Who was the outlier? Was that Aaron?
What's that?
Who was the 3.5?
That was Aaron.
That was me.
So Aaron was the outlier today?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Outside the box.
And the, what is it? The mode, is it? The one that's the most common is the 2.
Yeah.
So 2.4.
The median would also be a 2, so.
So 2.4 average score for Listen.
It's a below average episode.
Yes. Join us next week for Time Heist by an author we haven't seen before, I think. No, that's Thompson's one. That's Stephen Thompson, so we have seen him before.
Thompson and Moffat.
And Moffat.
And Thompson...
Because he's co-branding his name on everything.
Thompson wrote the episode that I had to bite my tongue not to reference today.
Which one? Journey to the Center of the TARDIS?
Yeah.
Because I acknowledge the existence of that. It's just a horrible, horrible episode that should not be seen by anybody.
So we'll see how next week fares.
While we probably have a few seconds before YouTube cuts us off, I just recently learned, and I'm going to send this image to the chat, but apparently the mask that Peter Capaldi removed in Deep Breath while pretending to be an android was a Matt Smith mask. Oh, that's the visual, but apparently it was made from a mold of Matt Smith for the Doctor Who experience.
Yeah, I can kind of see
irony.
it.
And on that bombshell.
Good night, everybody. And good
On
night,
that bombshell, it's time to end.
Ta-ta.